Excellent. Okay. All right. Welcome. We're going to get started on our belly. You can either make a pillow for your head with your hands, um, or you can take child's pose. It's a little bit more of a rounding action in the spine if you're taking child's pose. We're going to work this evening with the low back as much as we can. It's a kind of challenging place to access. So we're going to do some subtle movements that we'll play with in a variety of different orientations to gravity. And from this shape that you've chosen, either your belly or child's pose, we will eventually make our way to Sphinx. So if that's a pose you absolutely love and you'd like to hang out there for a couple minutes, please be my guest. And then when you get there, yeah, let your pets settle in. Everyone kind of let their animals crawl on them. It's the best part of home yoga in my mind. Notice your breath on the floor. So how your belly kind of pushes into the mat as you inhale. And the way the waist kind of draws in as you exhale. And maybe that's not exactly what's happening in your body. That's fine. Just tune in, be mindful of that. Not just as a way to tune into the physical aspects of your body, but also just as a way to really anchor your attention. So it's not really relevant what your body's doing right now. If your head is turned in one direction, just rest on the other cheek. Take a few more breaths. We'll get moving in just a moment or two. And then do please turn your head through center. If you aren't already flat on your belly, please just make your way there. And then you can make a pillow for your chin, so your neck, if that's comfy. If it's more comfy to rest your forehead, go right ahead. And then your inner thighs, zipper them towards the midline. They don't have to touch. Just feel that kind of hugging in action. And then connect all 10 toenails to the mat. So the heels are pointing straight up. Now, this is very subtle. You might not have a lot of range of motion here at all. So think about cat-cow, but just for the low back. So let the tail kind of curl in towards the back of the mat, like towards your heels. And then point your tailbone really high up towards the sky. So the hip creases kind of lift a little bit. This is going to be a very subtle motion. Just kind of move with your breath. Inhale to tilt the tailbone up towards the sky. And exhale to wrap the tailbone down towards the heels. Notice if your glutes clench as you do that. Just take one or two more. And then find something that feels kind of neutral. The back of the low back can lengthen quite a bit. And as promised, prop yourself up on your forearms. We'll play with some shoulder articulations here. You can keep yourself propped up on your elbows. Your forearms are making that nice 11 shape. And let your chest sink. Let the shoulder blades come towards each other on the back. You can let your head drop and push into your elbows, lift up and out of your shoulders. Draw your head back, chin up a little bit, and then chin towards the chest. Chest drops. Just feel that action of the shoulder blades coming towards each other. And inhale, push into the elbows, lift out of the shoulders, wrap your head up and back. One more. Chin in towards the chest. Let the chest drop. And inhale, lift up, 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 up. This time, as you exhale, just look over to the right, put the weight into your right elbow, and create a kind of C shape with your left side body without letting your left elbow pop up. And come back through center. Feel that big lift of the chest. And as you exhale, look over the left shoulder, feel your right side body lengthen into that C shape. Inhale, come back through center. As you exhale, lower the chest, lower the chin, slide your hands towards the low ribs like you were going to take a baby cobra pose. Re-zipper the inner thighs in. Now from here, shrug your shoulders up towards your ears and then slide the shoulders together towards each other. Slide the shoulders down the back and then wrap them forward towards the ears. Just make a big circle like that. There's a lot of cracking happening in my body. Ooh. And then switch directions just once. Shoulders by the ears, wrap them down, slide them down your back. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, then shoulders by the ears. And then the next time you feel your shoulders sliding down your back, push into your hands, lift your chest. As you exhale, push your way back to child's pose and widen the knees. Now from here, keep the low back as it is. Keep your hands as they are, elbows lifting up off the mat. Hug the arm bones towards each other. And then just lift your head and lower your forehead. And lift your head. Lower your forehead. Try not to move the arms or the hands. Do one more. Inhale, lift the head. Exhale, lower the forehead, drop the elbows, take a rest. Start to walk your hands forward, lift your elbows up, shift your way to tabletop position. Tuck your toes, send your hips up and back towards the sky for a downward facing dog. We won't be here too long. You can pedal out the heels. You can rock weight from hand to hand, whatever feels good here. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Let's meet in a forward fold. Bend your knees as much as you need to so that the belly is resting on the thighs. Let your head go, let your neck go, let your jaw go. Rock weight into your heels and into the balls of your feet. And rock weight from side to side so you find a place that's very evenly distributed. Walk your hands up onto your thighs and find a flat back. Let your shoulders kind of shrug towards the ears. Now, just like we did on our belly, you'll have a lot more range of motion here. Isolate this movement into the low back. The middle back, the upper back's not going to move. Curl your tailbone down towards your heels and then tilt your tailbone up. So it's just articulating the movement in the low back. Take this pretty slowly and feel your full range of motion here. So we'll get into the middle back and the upper back in a moment. Right now, just feel the low back. Good breathing. The next time you curl your tailbone up, pause when you're in that full arched position, and then let it move into the middle back and the upper back so you have like a full cow spine. And then curl your tailbone under, round into the low back, and then the middle back and the upper back so you have a full cat spine. Roll your weight all the way up to stand, straight legs, arms to the sky. Turn your palms to face forward, hook your right thumb in front of your left thumb, and look down. Make sure your feet are hips width distance apart. Take an inhale. As you exhale, lean over to the right. So big side body stretch for your left. Inhale through center. Keep your thumbs hooked. As you exhale, sit back and down into a weird chair. Make sure you can see your toes. Shift the weight back enough that you can see all 10 toes. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, over to the right, big left side body stretch. Inhale through center. Exhale, sit into a chair, a wide stance chair. Inhale, stand. Exhale, lean to the right. Inhale, stand. Exhale, chair. Pause here. Keep the arms straight, curl your tailbone under. Ooh, makes it harder. Inhale, stand. Exhale, goalpost the arms. Release the hands behind the crease where the legs meet the sits bones. Soften the knees, trace the backs of the legs down. Come to forward fold. Inhale, hands to shins or the earth. Find a flat back from here. And exhale, fold. Bend your knees a little. Bring your hands to your thighs. And then we'll do the opposite here. So keep your low back stable and just let the stretch come into your upper back. So as you arch the upper back, you'll have very little range of motion. That's fine. And let the upper back round. So you're not moving the low back at all. Go slow. Good. Last one. When your chest is reaching forward, pause. And then let the stretch come into the low back. Really curl your tailbone up, 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 up. And then from the upper back, start to round into the upper back, round into the middle back, round into the low back. Feel the tailbone curl. Roll yourself up to stand, arms to the sky. Palms face forward, left thumb hooks in front. Take a breath in. As you exhale, lean to the left. Inhale through center, keep the hook in your thumbs, sit back and down, chair pose here. Inhale, stand. Exhale, lean to the left. Inhale, stand. Exhale, sit back and down. One more, inhale, stand. Exhale, lean. Inhale, stand. Exhale, chair. This one we hold. Draw your belly in, feel your tailbone curl a little bit. So you're using your abdominal muscles to really support the low back. Make sure you can see all 10 toes. Weight back in your heels. Inhale, rise to stand. Exhale, goalpost the elbows. Squeeze them down at your sides. Release the hands behind the legs. Soften the knees. Trace the line of the backs of the legs all the way to a fold. Let your head go. Let your neck go. Let your jaw go. Inhale, find a halfway lift. As you exhale, soften the knees a little bit, climb your hands up onto your thighs, and then take a round or 2 or 3 of cat and cow the way you like it. If one of those things felt really good, you can repeat it. If you know something else will feel good, go right ahead and do that. Good. The next time your spine looks like it's rounding, let that action continue all the way to stand, arms to the sky. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, sit back and down into a chair pose and feel that action of your arms straightening and strengthening. Draw your arm bones back in line with your ears. Curl the tailbone a little bit so your belly's working. Keep breathing. Inhale. Exhale, sit a little lower. One more breath. Inhale. Exhale, fold forward, touch the floor. Inhale, find a halfway lift. Walk your way out to plank pose. Good. You can always come down onto your forearms or lower the knees, not a problem. Let your tailbone curl up, like give that big arch in the spine. Reach your heart forward. As you exhale, soften the knees. Push your hips up and back to down dog. And feel the tailbone curl down towards the heels. Start to shift forward. And that rounding in the low back and then the middle back and the upper back as you arrive in a plank pose. Exhale, tilt the tailbone up, soften the knees, shift back to down dog. Keep the knees bent a little bit. Drop your heels over to the right. Soften your left knee. Keep both hands pushing down and away. Feel that stretch in your left side body. Inhale to come through center. Exhale, go right into the second side. Turn your heels through center. Inhale, ripple forward, super slow, curl from the low back, middle back, upper back as you arrive in plank pose. As you exhale, lower to the belly. You can pass through knees down, not a problem. Untuck your toes, zipper the inner thighs in, curl your tailbone down towards your heels, and then slide your shoulders down as you lift your chest up. Baby cobra. Exhale, push back to child's pose. Inhale to table, please. And exhale, downward facing dog. Look forward. Step your right foot to your right thumb. Pause, come up on fingertips if you need. Walk the left foot over a footprint to the left, spin the heel down, pause. So we're setting up for warrior one. Glue the inner part of your right foot to the ground, and then curl your tailbone down, roll up to stand just like you did in chair, arms to the sky. Connect the blade edge of your left foot to the floor, fire up your left glute, and send your left hip crease forward. Now draw your ribs in and down, right? So you're articulating, you're working with the low back here only. The upper back stays super stable. Keep breathing. Soften perhaps a little deeper into your right knee. Squeeze your outer hips towards the midline. Yeah, it's starting to burn a little bit. Take one more big breath in. As you exhale, widen the arms, touch the ground. Grab your blocks if you have them. Spin up onto the ball of the left foot as you inhale. As you exhale, send your right leg straight as your hips tap back. Leave your heart reaching forward. Catch your breath. Inhale, bend into your right knee. Exhale, push your right leg straight. Keep your heart leaning forward. Inhale, bend into the right knee. Walk your blocks forward. Push off the left leg. Modified warrior three. So left leg just at hip height. Squeeze the outer hips in. Push into the hands. Lengthen your right side body and your left side body. And then point your toes. So you're reaching your toes way back. Lift the leg just a little bit higher without letting the low back splay. Exhale, step your left foot to meet your right foot. Soften your right knee. Reach your left fingertips to the sky. Big breath in. Exhale, left hand to the ground. Inhale, find a halfway lift. Your blocks are right there. You can use them. As you exhale, fold forward, put your hands on the mat. Step your left foot back to a lunge. Lower your left knee down. Roll your spine as you reach your arms up overhead. Connect your palms, bend your elbows. Bring your thumbs to the space behind the base of your skull. Squeeze your elbows in, and then lean your head back into your hands and let this really be a low back stretch. So feel two things. Feel a lengthening out of the hips. So you're lifting your head up into your thumbs, and then you're leaning back. Use your left glute a lot. Keep your left toes tucked so that you're sending that hip crease forward, forward, forward. Core engaged. And then inhale, come through center, arms to the sky. Sweep your right hand behind you, find your left thigh, and then drive your left arm up and back. Breathe in. As you exhale, cartwheel your hands down to the mat, frame out your right foot, tuck your left toes, lift your left knee, down dog split. Squeeze your heel towards your sits bone and then back the heel up a little bit. So like you had a block on its thickest height, squeezing between your heel and your sits bone. Now let the knee wing out to the side and open up. Keep that space between the heel and the sits bone and open the right knee as much as you can. Good, right foot down to meet the left foot. Take an inhale. Open your mouth. Left foot steps to the left thumb. Widen the right foot a footprint to the right and settle the heel down. Pause here on fingertips. Curl the tailbone down towards the right heel and roll your way up to warrior one, arms to the sky. So chair pose is a great preparation for warrior one specifically. That bend in the left knee, the way that the front body really supports the back body. So you're keeping it real lengthened, the low back. And use your right, notice what happens as you fire up your right glute, how your right side body can spin more forward. Good. We have 2 more breaths here. I always rush the left side. Squeeze the outer hips in. Stay active and equanimous. Good. Exhale. Float the hands down. Grab your blocks as you spin up onto the ball of your right foot. Take an inhale. As you exhale, heart keeps reaching forward as your hips tack back. Inhale to bend into your knee. And exhale to shift back. Inhale, bend into the knee, walk your hands forward. And lift your right leg up just to hip height, like a modified warrior 3. Wiggle around a little bit so you feel your left side body and your right side body lengthen. Point your right toes, lift your right leg a little higher without letting the hip flop open and without letting the low back like hammock. Step your right foot to meet your left foot here. Soften your left knee. Reach your right fingertips to the sky. Right hand down. Inhale, find a halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms. Step your right foot to a lunge. Lower your right knee down. Roll your spine up. Curl the tailbone. Start there. Keep your right toes tucked, arms to the sky. Right toes tucked will just help you keep your right glute engaged. Palms touch, elbows bend, thumbs behind the base of your skull. Wrap your arms in. Use your thumbs to lift up, to grow. And as you exhale, lean your head back into your hands. Big thigh stretch, big low back stretch. Keep breathing. Soften your jaw. Feel the tension and meet it with softness. Good. Use your belly to come back upright, arms to the sky. Right arm stays lifted, left hand sweeps behind you. Find the back of your right thigh. Lift up and back. Exhale, cartwheel your hands down to the floor. Tuck your right toes, lift your right knee, left leg up and back to the sky. Bend your knee. Before you open the hip, think about squeezing something between the heel and something really thick between the heel and the sits bone. And then open the hip up wide. Put your left foot down to meet your right. You're in downward facing dog. Inhale your way forward to plank. And exhale, lower your way to the belly or to chaturanga. Untuck your toes. Inhale for a baby cobra. And exhale, we'll meet in downward facing dog. We'll get right into this next segment. Right foot steps forward, please. Grab one of your blocks. Spin your left heel down. So more like warrior 2 family stance. Walk your block inside your right foot. I'm using the highest height. And then push your right leg straight and bring your left hand to your left hip. So like you're setting up for triangle, but we're not rushing this process. Now slide your hand up from your hip towards like the middle of your torso and use your thumb to find that big band of muscle to the left of your spine. That is your QL. I feel it really firing like just underneath the ribs. Yeah, so that's it. Okay. And then use the C shape you're making in the webbing of your fingers to like soften the ribs on your left side body down. As I do that, I feel my right side body lengthen, my right sits bone slide back, and then float your left arm up and overhead. Breathe. And as much as you can, turn the palm down, reach overhead, feel that muscle you just located with your hand. Get a nice, good stretch. Whew. Good. Look down, bend into your right knee, sweep your left arm up and behind you. Either find your sacrum or the inner right hip crease. And then your right hand's probably burning. Just climb your forearm on up onto your thigh. Extended side angle pose. Wrap your left shoulder open. Keep your tailbone curling down and your left leg really firing up. And do something that feels comfortable with your neck so that you can breathe. We're going to reverse a triangle pose. Do so very slowly. You can keep your half wrap if you like it. You can also release it. Right arm reaches up and back, or just straight up. As you exhale, bend into your right knee. Carefully cartwheel your hands down. Move the block off to the side. Spin up onto the ball of your left foot. Plant your palms. Right leg reaches back. One-legged plank pose, please. And then draw your knee towards your belly button. Lower the shin all the way to the mat. Spin the shin to 90 degrees. Spin the left heel down. Reach your left fingertips towards the sky. So a really similar action, just a different orientation to gravity. Send your left arm overhead. So if you didn't find it in triangle pose, here it is. Rock your hips forward a little bit. Oh, yeah. Breathe. Left arm straight up to the sky. Lift your left leg. Bend your left knee. Kick your heel towards your sits bone. Grab your foot with your left hand. And then send the hips forward again for this bind. Release the grip, but keep the foot where it is. Bring your hand to the top of the knee. And then slide the knee to the outside of the right shin. So we're setting up for Ardha Matsyendrasana. This will make sense in a moment. Sit down behind your right shin. So you have this pretzel shape. Yeah, you made it. Now sit up nice and tall. If you have to straighten your right leg, that's fine. Not a problem. Glue the big toe ball mound of your left foot down. And then wrap your right arm around your left leg. Release your left fingertips behind you and lift up. Use your exhale to twist deeper. And then instead of working into this really deep twist here, let it be a little bit more of like a cat and a cow, so that your low back is really accessible. Take one more breath. Good. Inhale. As you exhale, walk your hands to the top of the mat. Make your way carefully to standing split with your left foot down, right leg to the sky. You can absolutely use your blocks here if you'd like. And then point your toes again. Lengthen your left side body as much as you're lengthening your right side body. Point your toes, lift your right leg up a little higher for 5, higher for 4, higher for 3, higher for 2, higher for 1. Good. Bend into your left knee, take a big step back, plant your palms, downward facing dog. Left foot steps forward. We're setting up for triangle. So block on its highest height inside the left foot. Spin your right heel down. Straighten your left leg. Bring your right hand to your right hip. So find that hip stacked on top of hip, rib stacked on top of rib, shoulder stacked on top of shoulder action. And then slide your hand up a couple inches. Feel that big muscle to the right of your spine. It's getting right into your QL. This side is a lot more active. And then use the webbing between the thumb and the forefinger to soften the ribs down. Soften. Slide your right arm up when you're ready. Keep that muscle in your mind's eye. Turn your palm down. Sweep the arm overhead. Good. Now look down. Bend into your left knee. Reach your right arm back up and sweep it behind you this time. Find the sacrum or the left hip crease for a half bind, and then peel your chest open. My left arm is burning, so you're welcome to bring the forearm onto your left thigh. And then find all the space you have here. Breathe. We're going to reverse. You can keep your bind or not. Left arm reaches up. Bend your left knee, cartwheel your hands down carefully. Move the block out of the way. Spin up onto the ball of your right foot. One-legged plank, left leg back, upper body stays the same. Coil the knee in towards the navel, and then let the shin come to the mat. Pivot the shin out to 90 degrees. Right heel comes down, right fingertips come to the sky. On purpose, send your hips forward. And then turn your palm down. Arc the arm overhead. Now this time, you're letting your ribs really splay open. Arms straight up to the sky. Lift your right foot up off the mat. Bend the knee, reach back for the foot with the hand, and then squeeze the heel towards the sits bone as you keep your hips moving forward. Keep the leg as it is, just release your grip. Your hand can slide towards the knee, and then use your hand to help plant the foot outside your left knee. Spin your way down to a seat, and then hug your right leg with your left arm, right fingertips behind you. If you're straightening your left leg, go right ahead, and then lift up. Exhale, twist. Stay in this somewhat twisted shape, but feel free to move around in the spine. And we'll move the next time you exhale. Hands find the top of the mat. Right foot spins forward. Left leg reaches up to standing split. Blocks are available. You have them near. Feel free to use them. Point your toes, not flex your foot. Point your toes. Lengthen your right side body as much as you're lengthening your left side body. And then lift the left leg up higher for 5. Higher for 4. Higher for 3, higher for 2, higher for 1. Oh, bend into your right knee. Move the blocks to the side if you have them. Step your right foot back to meet your left foot, downward facing dog. Inhale, ripple forward to plank. Exhale, lower all the way to the mat. Untuck your toes. Keep your hands at your low ribs. Zipper your inner thighs in. They don't have to touch. Feel that action of them intending towards each other. And then lift your chest a little bit. Lift both of your legs a little bit. Your toes are pointed. Lift them higher for 5, higher for 4, higher for 3, squeeze together, higher for 2, higher for 1. Stay here, feet lifted, squeezing together. Lift your chest. Exhale, lower down. Make a pillow for your head with your hands. So we stretch the low back, we strengthen the low back. We strengthen the belly to support the low back. Feel your heart beating. If you're resting on one cheek, switch. Turn your head through center, please. Slide your hands back towards your low ribs. Lift yourself up to table. And then inhale, arch your spine for cow. And exhale from the tailbone, curl the tailbone down towards the knees. Really articulate the low back, the middle back, all the way to the upper back. And then switch, start to curl the tailbone up. Arch into the low back. Arch into the middle back. Arch into the upper back. Last one, exhale, round the tailbone towards the knees. The middle back, the upper back. Inhale to just a neutral spine. Step your left foot back to plank pose, belly strong. Step your right foot back to plank pose, breathe in. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step your right foot wide of your right little finger. Left knee down, pad up if you like. And then we're gonna make this just a hip stretch. So let your right knee wing out, the blade edge of your foot wings out, and let your right weight rock from side to side. If you have blocks, you should have blocks. If you want to use them, I don't mean you should have them, but I've been saying it multiple times through class. So if you do have your blocks, I don't need to keep saying that. You can prop your forearms up onto your blocks. Oh. And if you don't need your blocks or you don't want your blocks, bring your forearms all the way down to the ground. And just let this be all about the hip. Good. Hands to blocks. The sole of the foot down on the mat. Tuck your left toes, lift your left knee. Step your left foot wide of your left hand. Wide-legged fold, you have blocks. Just let your upper body drip down. Bend into the knees. Step your right foot way to the back of the mat. Lower your right knee down. Let the left toes wing out. Come on to the blade edge of the foot. Let the knee wing out. Big hip stretch. Oh, yes. Come down onto forearms if you did so on the first side. Soften your jaw. Let your senses start to dissolve so that the outer world is taking up much less space in your awareness. And you're going deeper and deeper within to this multi-layered experience that is you. Oh. Good. Hands to the mat or to your blocks. Tuck your right toes, lift your right knee, step your left foot back to down dog. I'm staying on my blocks because we're gonna come back. Step your left foot forward, right knee down. This time, make it a twist. So keep the foot all the way down, left hand to left thigh, push into the thigh, peel the chest open to the left. Feel your right hand pushing down into the mat, pushing forward and sliding the hand to the right. You're really deep in this twist. Unravel. Left hand down, right foot steps forward outside the right hand, left foot steps way back, left knee comes down, right hand to right thigh, push into the thigh to peel your chest open to the right. Push your left hand down into the mat or a block. Feel the hand sliding forward and then to the left as well. So your left ribs are really wrapping in towards the midline. Unravel, right hand down, step your right foot back to meet your left down dog super fast. And then you can take a hop or a simple step, does not matter to me, feet outside the hands. Use one of your blocks to bend the knees. Take a seat down. If you love Malasana and you don't need to sit yourself on a block, take Malasana any way you like it. And feel the tailbone not sticking out as much as really curling in. So your chest can lift up, your shoulders can broaden, the crown of your head reaches up. The blade edges of your feet are taking the weight. Just breathe. Remove the block. If you're in Malasana without a block, just sit yourself down. Walk your feet in front of you, hands behind the thighs. Rock your weight back. Keep that neutral spine. And then rock back enough that your feet lift up off the mat and your shins come parallel to the ceiling. Now reach your hands forward toward your feet. Not up, just forward. Draw your belly in. Feel your spine round a little bit here. So your low back rounds, your chest keeps lifting. Take a breath. So this is going to require a little bit of control on your part. You're going to keep the shape that you're in. You're just going to roll it down until you're on your back. Now, some of you know that I'm obsessed with my Peloton app. And Peloton, they do this dead bug thing all the time. And as you can imagine, it amuses me quite a bit. So we're going to play with the dead bug here, and I'm going to give Peloton credit. So as you inhale, your left leg's going to extend forward, your right arm will reach back, and then everything will come back through center. Then right leg extends, left arm reaches back, bring it back through center. We'll do 3 more like this. And it amuses me, which is probably part of the core work for it, that they call this the dead bug. Okay, by my count, we have 1 more each side. Then we're going to turn up the heat before we turn the heat down way. Okay, last one. Let's meet through center. The low belly and the low back stays down the whole time. So you're going to keep marching with the arms. Both legs are going to straighten at the same time. So it's much less important to me how low you get your legs to the ground. And it's much more important to me that your low back stay connected. We'll do 2 more each side. That was right. Left arm back. Last one. Right arm back. Left arm back. Hug your knees into your chest. Oh, roll around on the low back. And put your feet on the floor just underneath the knees. Reach your hands long at your sides. Push your tailbone down into the mat, create an arch shape in the spine. And then curl the tailbone up towards the knees to create a rounding in your back. Push into the tailbone, create that arch. And then push into your feet, lift your hips, keep that arch kind of shape. So let the inner feet feel heavy, let your inner knees draw in. Use your glutes, push the hips higher a little bit for 4, a little bit for 3, higher for 2, higher for 1. Keep the arch in your spine. As you lower down, imagine you could dip your tailbone like into a pool of water and you get those rings around it. That was the first thing to touch down. Yeah, and then when you get there, round into the back, curl the tailbone up so you find that uh, cat shape. Inhale for that cow shape. Exhale for a cat shape. Curl the tailbone up, 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 and then keep lifting. So find a bridge pose here. The tailbone's curling up. Push into the hands. And lift your hips a little higher for 5. For 4, keep the knees drawing in, inner feet heavy. 3, 2, 1. And then roll your way down. So each vertebra makes contact with the mat in the sequential order. See what you can do. And when you get all the way there, push the tailbone down, arch the spine, curl round. And then whichever one you preferred, whichever one felt better for you, do that. Take one last bridge pose. And then this time, bend the elbows and push into the backs of the arms to work the shoulders underneath you. You can stay right here, pushing the backs of the arms down. You can also reach beneath you, interlace fingers, and then push the pinkies down. Same here. Wherever you are, lift the hips higher for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Release your hands, calm down. Hopefully it's not too far away. Grab one of your blocks. We're not taking supported bridge. Just keep the block handy by your right hand. Widen your feet as wide as the mat, knock your knees in, and just let your knees kind of windshield from side to side. We'll have a nice cool down here. When you feel complete with windshield wipering, take a shape called pentacle pose. So send your feet long and then widen them as wide as the mat and reach your arms overhead like a shape that mirrors what's happening in your legs, or they can be not as wide. Just let yourself splay out on the altar of the earth. Bend your left leg a little, push into your left foot, and slide your hips over to the left. Bring the left part of your sacrum all the way to the mat. Then cross your left foot to the outside of your right leg, and then straighten the left leg. So it's like tracing the outer line of your right leg towards the ankle. So you're creating a little bit of a C shape in your left side body. And then do the same thing. Let your left hand find your right hand, and then walk both of your hands as far to the right as they can go. You might have to kind of like shimmy the upper back over towards the right. So eventually you'll create a shape called banana, which looks just like its namesake. Your left side body is quite curvy, and you'll feel this a lot in your QL, that muscle we located in triangle pose. If you're letting your left hip drop, so it's not lifting above the right hip. Sometimes I see this. If you're confused, you can peek at me. Not this, this. And let your shoulders soften as much as you possibly can. You don't have to feel a lot here. You just have to prepare yourself to stay for everything you do feel. And let your breath massage that lengthening, that gorgeous line in the left side body. Just another breath or two. From here, as you come out, reverse the tracing of the line, the outer line of your right leg with your left heel, but then pause when it's the knees upright, and then just roll over onto your right side like you were going to take a twist. You have a block on the right side over there. Let your knee land on the block, any height. Wonderful. You can roll onto your right side, create like a fetal type position, and sweep your left arm all the way up and overhead like you're coming into a supine twist, but you don't have to stay in stillness. You can retrace that line a few times. So you're coming in and out of fetal position and open twist. Anything that feels good. No right, no wrong. Couple breaths here. Slowly make your way back to pentacle pose and feel the difference from side to side. You can shimmy your way back to center. Do a quick exchange block from right hand to left hand. And you know you're going to use it for the twist, so keep it out of the way for now. Extend the arms back up overhead, bend your right knee, push into your right foot, slide the hips over to the right a little bit. Get the whole sacrum to make contact with the earth. And then cross the right foot over the left foot, slide the heel down toward the left ankle, and then walk your right hand over to meet your left hand. You can shimmy, shimmy, shimmy your upper back over to the left so that you have the exact right amount of side body or QL opening here in banana. Last few breaths. And keep the right leg crossed. Just slide the heel up until the knee is pointing upright. And then you can roll all the way over onto your left side. So your right knee finds the block. Your arms can adjust as needed. I'm gonna take a few rolling supine twist actions. So for me, I feel this a lot more in my upper back and my middle back than I feel it in the low back, which kind of feels nice after all that work we did. If you want a few moments in an open twist, just do your supine twist position. Get set up to enjoy stillness. Slide your right leg back to pentacle pose. Just for a final moment, make sure everything's evened out. Oh, good sounds. And then give yourself a final squeeze. It can look like just knees to the belly or the chest. It can look like a happy baby. And as always, it can look more like halasana, if that's something you can practice safely. Shavasana awaits. Shavasana, of course, is the peak pose of every practice. The physical asana is one limb of a philosophy with 8 limbs. So yoga helps us practice what it's like to embody our disciplines, practicing attention, self-study, nonviolence. Somewhere along the arc of moving and breathing and mindfulness, the senses start to dissolve. And the intention behind the whole umbrella of this practice is to access. It's there all along, whether you're aware of it or not. Bliss, ananda. Settle and resettle on your mat in the physical space, in the energetic space, in the mental space that you created with your work, with your discipline. And let yourself drift off. As we wrap up this final practice together of the new year, some of the yoga philosophies are just coming to mind for me right now. In yoga, there's an idea that the that who you are, that the person you are, is limitless. So anything you could imagine, you are already that. So the idea of radical self-acceptance, it doesn't mean you are any one thing or you aren't any one thing, right? Because the idea is that you are truly everything that's possible, which isn't to say that you have no control over how you are, right? How you are is a reflection of your intentions and your discipline and your ability to self-study. So as you deepen your breath, as you bring yourself back to life, back to this realm, sit with that, right? That you're who you are. You can't change that. You can't change who you are because you're limitless. You can change how you are. And it's not a resolution by itself. It's a discipline. It's a commitment to all the time embodying that thing, which you already are. So on purpose, release from stillness and start to make your way back to a seated position, building yourself upright. Remain with your eyes closed for a moment and cover your hands on top of your heart as a gesture of honoring um, this really the seed of your intention. And it all comes from this heart driven space. Bow your chin to your chest, honoring reverence, right? We're already revering the heart space, and the bowing the chin to the chest is just a gesture of honoring in and of itself. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you all so much for being you. It is my pleasure to be among you.